Introduction. Marketable strategies are basically records utilized for planning out particular insights about your business. They can extend in size from a basic few sentences to more than 100 pages with formal areas, a chapter-by-chapter list, and a cover sheet. Thorough strategies for success have 3 segments: a business idea, commercial center, and budgetary. And these are separated into 7 parts that incorporate the review or outline of the arrangement, a representation of the business, market methodologies, rivalry examination, configuration and advancement, operations and administrations, and monetary data. Indeed, even little one-page marketable strategies have significance and reason for the accomplishment of the business. It might be less demanding to contract somebody to compose a marketable strategy for you. In any case, finishing the business plan yourself is a better option since you are more useful for your business as you understand it the most. Your marketable strategy requires definite thought, a lot of exploration, and extraordinary conceptualizing. On the off chance that you finish your own particular marketable strategy, you will be better arranged to clarify your business, procedures as well as location questions about your business. Making a business plan will offer you some assistance with achieving your entrepreneurial objectives. An unmistakable and convincing strategy for success gives you with a manual for building a fruitful undertaking concentrated on accomplishing your own and monetary objectives. It can likewise induce others, including banks, to put resources into what you are making. Coming up with a business plan yourself brings more benefits as compared to when made by a specialist. You must be wondering how come. Isn't it time-consuming? Well, yes, it does ask for a time, but one-time investment is going to bring you a lot of advantages. You get to examine your business thoroughly and learn about all the flaws and drawbacks which you would have ignored otherwise. No one understands your business better than you do, so come up with a business plan yourself. But how? For that, read on the whole book and figure out how to approach your business plan. Chapter 1. Introduction to Business Plan. Definition of business plan. To comprehend the idea of a business plan for success and the business planning process, perceive that the plan is not a record. The plan might be displayed through a planning archive, yet the strategy for success itself should be a plan of administration choices about what an organization will do to guarantee achievement later on. In its most essential structure, business plan is the procedure whereby an organization settles on the accompanying choices. What items or administrations it will convey, where will it compete, why have the clients to work with the organization, how will it compose and re-engineer itself to finish its objectives. Business planning is utilized to some degree by all associations, substantial and little, for benefit and not revenue-driven, paying little respect to the way of the business. The extension and multifaceted nature of the business planning process and the subsequent plan must reflect the size and many-sided quality of the organization and its business. For littler organizations that work in a genuinely stable business environment, the planning procedure might be a casual review of certain key parts of the organization's execution by a modest bunch of top administrators. As an organization gets to be bigger, or as the business environment turns out to be less steady and less unsurprising, the planning process turns out to be more formal, thorough, and complex. Mere workforce are included in surveying and planning different parts of the organization's implementation, and the time skyline tended to by planning choices might expand more distant into what's to come. As a representation of formal versus casual business planning, differentiate the area service station to a universal petroleum organization. For the area corner store, the planning issues incorporate suitable stock levels of a constrained scope of items, article or administration evaluating, and income administration. The time skyline of the plan is close to 1 year and every now and again is just 1 month. The majority of the required data and choice-making power dwells with the station proprietor. Conversely, the planning process for the Worldwide Petroleum Organization must address a much more extensive scope of issues, for instance, the securing of crude materials, suitable stock levels at a few stages in a mid-boggling fabricating process, cost control, evaluating for an extensive variety of items, interests in capital gear, offices and new item improvement, the quest for non-traditional sources and option materials, the administration and inspiration of a large number of representatives, and the dispersion of many items to a lot of buyers. The data required for planning choices exists in formal information frameworks and in the brains of several administration staff. The time skyline might augment over 20 years into what's to come. The key point is that, paying little heed to size, all organizations are occupied with some type of business planning. Objectives and uses of a business plan. All in all, a business plan for success is important to give an unmistakable, exact and significant ability to know east from the west for an organization for a particular time frame. As a rule, 1 year. The business plan of a yearly strategy empowers administration to thoroughly consider its planned activities and shows how they will influence different parts of the business. Past these overriding purposes, a business plan for success can have a few unique destinations that thus relate nearly to the business plans proposed utilizes, both inward and outside. Inside uses of a business plan. A business plan for success can give a few inner advantages to an organization. To start with, it can enhance execution by distinguishing the qualities and shortcomings of the organization's operation and any potential or rising issue territories. Enhanced execution additionally will come about because of creating systems that at the same time expand on the organization's qualities and right its shortcomings. Second, a business plan for success can convey to administration and staff clear assumptions in regards to the organization's execution and needs. Third, for organizations with numerous divisions, units, or purposes of administration obligation, a marketable business plan can viably arrange and guarantee consistency in the business plans and operations of the different units or divisions. Fourth, a marketable business plan gives a strong premise for measuring execution of the general organization and of individual units and chiefs. It builds up a standard for choosing if the real execution is great, terrible, or aloof. A business plan for success additionally builds up a structure for looking into key choices in the progressing administration of the organization. As new advancements and opportunities emerge, a successful business plan gives an objective structure to assessing their effect on the operations and execution of the general organization and its individual units. At long last, and maybe most imperative, a marketable business plan and the procedure of creating it can be utilized to instruct and rouse the key staff, for example, directors and managers of the organization. Through cooperation in breaking down past execution, assessing the effect of patterns and improvements, and creating activity get ready for the future, administrators and other key staff can take in more about the aggregate operation of an organization and the relationship of their particular zones of obligation to the accomplishment of the organization's general objectives. External uses of a business plan. A hit business plan has a few uses involved with critical gatherings outside the organization. In the first place, it can be utilized to teach outside gatherings in regards to the goals, structure and execution of the organization. This utilization gets to be imperative if the backing, either financial or non-financial, of outside gatherings is essential to the organization's prosperity. An unmistakable case is the backing of present or potential stockholders or financial specialists. Second, a business plan for success can be utilized to secure subsidizing from outside financial specialists, either individual or institutional. On the off chance that this utilization is proposed, it is vital to recognize ahead of time the issues and sorts of data that are of essential concern and enthusiasm to the financial specialists. A business plan for success additionally can convey a range of activities, redirecting aggressive or administrative moves that might be underthought by external gatherings. By formalizing its aims in a marketable business plan, an organization submits itself to activity. By imparting this dedication to choose noteworthy outside gatherings, an organization might acquire activities that could negatively affect its own particular arranges and activities. Given the wide range of destinations and employments of the business plan for success, the administration must choose whether is it attractive or important to disseminate its business plan. On the off chance that the business plans is to be conveyed, the particular structure and substance will be influenced by the planned, used and target gathering of people. Keep reading to learn more about the business plan. Chapter 2. What to include in a business plan. Each business plan, paying little thought to the organization, the nature of its business, its size, or the planned employments of the business plan, ought to address various fundamental issues. These issues can be composed by significant business procedures: market strategy, generation or administration strategy, research and development (R&D) strategy, association and administration strategy, money-related strategy. Portrayals of every technique make the real partition out of a complete business plan for success. The 5 techniques characterize the regions in which administration must settle on future situated choices as a feature of a successful business planning process. Every system is exceptionally interrelated and should be predictable with the others. Market strategy. A business sector system addresses the accompanying basic issues. What items or administrations will the organization offer? Who are or will be the objective clients of the organization? What will be the organization's strategies in regard to item or administration evaluating, publicizing and advancement, deals and appropriation? By adding to a business sector methodology, an association can get ready evaluations of incomes and offering costs, yet not generation costs, for its items and administrations. A few essential investigations underlie the improvement of a business sector methodology, including the accompanying inclination, utilization and obtaining conduct, that is, timing and volume of client portions, helpfulness of items of administrations to clients, fulfillment of clients with items or administrations, level of rivalry inside of the business for the same client sections. These examinations are critical in creating practical evaluations of what can be sold and to whom, when, in what amounts, and at what value, given the level of advancement, deals and appropriation exertion. Production or service strategy. A creation or administration methodology addresses a few basic issues: the procedure and innovation that will be utilized to deliver and convey the organization's items or administrations, the prerequisites for materials, gear and offices, and the generation plan required to bolster deals' objectives. It empowers the organization to decide evaluations of working pay gainfulness and to decide the level of offers and income that the association must accomplish before it can get to be productive, that is, the break-even point. Like the business sector methodology, a few essential examinations underlie the advancement of a generation or administration technique. Recognizable proof and assessment of both the settled and variable generation cost for every item or administration. Assessment of required lead times for obtaining materials and the time necessary for the genuine generation process. Appraisal of supplier connections with respect to accessibility, quality and expense of materials and administrations. Assessment regarding generation productivity and quality control. Evaluation of creation cost proficiency and its effect on general generation cost. These examinations are imperative to guarantee that deals and income goals properly coincide with the generation or administration ability of the organization. In the event that business objectives fundamentally surpass the present limit of an association, they should be balanced down, or extra ventures must be made to increment or extend the generation or administration limit. Deals and income objectives ought to be sufficiently high to cover essential generation and working expenses to guarantee financial suitability. In the event that anticipated incomes don't spread assessed creation as well as working costs, deals and income objective must be balanced upward, or cost-cutting activities must be arranged and embraced. Accommodating and adjusting both business sector and generation methodologies are procedures that might require a few emphases. Research and development strategy. The R&D system addresses two key inquiries. What basic zones of the organization's business operation must be produced, kept up, or extended to support a focused edge? Given patterns in the commercial center and the working environment of the organization, what speculations are important to keep up or extend the focused edge? The requirement for a formal R&D methodology is resolved to a huge degree by the structure of the organization's working surroundings. On the off chance that the organization works in a profoundly aggressive environment, described by quick and successive innovative change and obliging medium to long extent planning skylines, a formal R&D procedure is a working need. In the event that the organization works in a steadier environment, or in one where new item presentation is not an essential determinant of business sector achievement, a formal R&D methodology is less fundamental. As the economy turns out to be more learning and data-based, less and fewer organizations will have the advantage of not building up some kind of R&D system. The requirement for the extent of an R&D methodology streams from the business sector examination. In the event that the business sector investigation shows that the acquiring conduct of target clients is impacted by components other than value, the requirement for some level of R&D exertion is shown. The level of exertion can go from long-haul new item planning and prologue to tweaking changes of existing items and administrations. Association and Management Business Plan. An association and administration system addresses a few basic issues: capacities that should be performed and who will be in charge of performing them. Association of capacities to advance general viability, proficiency and profitability. Administration of the association's procedures and practices to guarantee quality items or administrations. Staffing necessities regarding numbers, abilities, capabilities and limited time opportunities. Techniques for directing, inspiring and controlling the general operation of the organization. Through the association and administration procedure, the organization starts the procedure of choosing how to actualize its significant business system. Who is in control and who will take every necessary step, especially in regards to basic capacities, are critical worries to external financial specialists. A few imperative investigations underlie the advancement of an association and administration methodology. These examinations are vital to guarantee that the organization adequately addresses the general population issues that are key to any organization's prosperity. Assessment of administration states of mind and convictions with respect to organization values, the treatment of workers, and key measures of organization achievement. Accessibility and expense of required staff abilities, both inside and outside the organization. For instance, experts and board individuals. Recorded qualities and shortcomings in the structure, association and administration of the organization, including correspondences, inter-unit participation and worker spirit and profitability. Financial business plan. A financial technique addresses three basic issues. 1. How business operations will be overseen fiscally to create a sufficient benefit or to guarantee to progress financial practicality. 2. How overabundance incomes or benefits will be utilized. And 3. How essential working supports and subsidies required for key ventures will be produced. In actuality, the advancement of a money-related system turns into a reality test for alternate methodologies in the marketable strategy. A money-related methodology answers the general inquiry of what speculations or costs can be made or brought about. A budgetary procedure answers inquiries, for example, the accompanying. Does the arranged level of operation produce an adequate level of incomes or benefits to boost the course of action? Will the level of arranged operations create an adequate income to maintain operations? If not, can the deficiency be secured from different sources? Do the levels of speculation, costs and returns, incomes, keep up financial dissolvability and reasonability? Similarly, as with alternate systems, a few investigations underlie the improvement of a financial technique. They set up a system for assessing the money-related feasibility of the showcasing, generation or administration, R&D, and association and administration procedures. The investigations incorporate the accompanying. Recorded data with respect to the time relationship between the incurrence and installment of expenses and the receipt of incomes, that is, the income issue. Strategies of the organization and its suppliers and clients in regards to installments and accumulations. Chronicled execution of the organization on key budgetary markers. Piece of benefits and liabilities, including future financial commitments. Quality and current value of advantages. Expense and accessibility of assets from outside sources. Chapter 3. How to prepare a business plan. In spite of the fact that the strategy for success systems are exceedingly interrelated and the advancement of the individual procedures is questionably an iterative process, an essential business plan of steps can and should be followed in building up the business plan. Step 1. Organizing the planning process. Numerous business planning endeavors fall at the same level in light of the fact that lacking consideration is given at the start to sorting out and invigorating the planning movement. A few contemplations are included. Initially, an organization's administration must characterize and plainly impart its dedication to the planning effort. This dedication must incorporate an announcement of the goals and foreseen employments of the strategy for success. Second, all key gatherings must be included in the planning process. Top administrations has to distinguish who will be included, counting external gatherings, deciding the suitable frame and timing of the contribution, give the chance to appropriate interest and guarantee that cooperation happens. Third, obligations regarding creating and executing the business plan ought to be correctly characterized and relegated. At long last, the strides and process for finishing the business plan should be timed and made an essential part of the work routine. A general timetable for building up the business plan, including halfway points of reference, have to be built up. Adequate time should be fused into the timetable so staff can viably perform both planning and continuous work obligations. On the off chance that these contemplations are satisfactorily tended to in the sorting out stage, the planning process turns into a high need and an attainable action for the organization and its staff. The outcome is an amazing strategy for success with shared proprietorship. Step 2. Diagnosing the situation. The primary diagnostic stride in the planning procedure is to survey and assess what an organization is doing right now in connection to its working surroundings. The main part of this investigation is to evaluate the organization's present abilities, that is, its qualities, shortcomings, and chronicled execution. The second part is to survey out-to-commercial center advancements, that is, dangers and opportunities, and their effect on the future execution of the organization. Data from both parts of the examination is basic to a compelling planning process. For a few organizations, it is vital to screen outside advancements ceaselessly and assess execution in light of responsiveness and versatility to any improvements. These organizations ordinarily have the assets and the craving to put resources into an abnormal state of exploration and investigation. Different organizations like to assess commercial center improvements in light of their particular effect on current execution and abilities. This methodology, which requires altogether less exertion and assets, mirrors a lower SOAR requirement for the appropriate external survey. The particular approach that an organization takes relies upon the aggressive setting, administration's inclinations, the accessibility of assets to bolster progressing assessments of the outside environment, and the recurrence and criticalness of outer improvements on the organization's execution. Step 3. Setting goals. The situational determination creates a business plan of discoveries about what is being done and an appraisal of the ampleness of existing systems as far as present execution and future advancements. The after effects of the situational examination are utilized as a part of two separate yet related courses in the objective setting venture of the planning process. To start with, the outcomes characterize particular territories and levels of change in the organization's operations and administration. They likewise build up execution norms for every key measurement of the organization's operations and administration. By setting objectives, the organization is characterizing the parameters of its general business methodologies for what's to come. Inside of every system, promoting, fund, etc., objectives have to be built up for each working measurement in which execution change is important or fitting. Objectives should address both present and potential qualities and shortcomings, and in addition future or rise open doors. Overall techniques, objectives have to be steady with each other and commonly feasible. Ordinarily, objectives are initially settled for every procedure range. At the point when all things are considered, some of these objectives might strive with those of different techniques. Struggle frequently happens with advertising and generation objectives or with R&D and budgetary objectives. For a strategy to work successfully, clashing objectives must be accommodated and a reliable general objective system set up. Since suspicions on which the business plan might be based are not flawless indicators without bounds, the organization have to create elective objectives and methodologies in light of other doable suppositions. These choices are the basis for possibility planning. Sufficient regard for these contemplations must yield a decent, attainable business plan of objectives and execution principles for the organization. Step 4. Developing operating plans. Working business plans should be created for each of the operational methodologies, that is, advertising, generation or administration, innovative work, and association and administration. The motivation behind this stride is to make an interpretation of the systems into a particular business and working business plans for each of the working segments of the organization. Every part's targets and procedures will shift to some degree, yet the working business plan for every segment have to delineate in genuinely particular terms the execution goals for the segment and give a reasonable general sign of how the destination will be refined. Step 5. Developing a financial plan. The advancement of a budgetary business plan streams from the execution targets and methodologies of each of the working parts. These goals and systems give appraisals of incomes and costs. A budgetary business plan must utilize this data to create a few expert form and support calendars that can be utilized to assess and deal with the money-related execution of the organization. Genius Former calendars are standard bookkeeping explanations arranged by the organization's bookkeeping office and are least necessities for inner administration and outer clients. The 3 Genius Former timetables are as per the following: quarterly and every now and again month-to-month wage articulations for period tended to by the market table strategy, mirroring the relationship between incomes, costs, and benefits produced quarterly and yearly monetary records, mirroring the connections among short and long-haul resources and liabilities and proprietors' value or level of venture. Month-to-month income synopsis, mirroring the effect of business operations on the money position of the organization. Supporting calendars give a more finished depiction of clarification of the money-related figures incorporated into the Genius Former plans. Two of the more normal supporting timetables are the month-to-month deals and income projections. These projections are gotten from the Promoting Working Business Plan and month-to-month departmental spending plans that reflect arranged costs and uses for generation and overhead operations. Past these timetables, a money-related business plan ought to incorporate synopses of arranged monetary execution as per chose markers of productivity, development, dissolvability and quantifiable profit. The after effects of a money-related investigation give a sign of the ampleness and feasibility of the working destinations and techniques from the point of view of accessible monetary assets. Taking into account the consequences of the budgetary investigation, it might be important to re-examine and overhaul the working destinations to bolster more attractive and feasible money-related execution. Step 6. Writing the business plan document. The planning of a formal marketable strategy record is a necessity if outside employments of the business plan are expected. A formal archive ought to be arranged, regardless of the fact that the expected employments of the marketable strategy are entirely inward, with the specific end goal to give a composed record of the administration choices that have been made amid the planning process. Setting up the planning report has three goals. To begin with, it conveys conclusion to the planning process. Second, it conveys the reality of the planning process and a promise to resultant goals and methodologies. At last, the planning record gives a substantial structure to assess ensuing exercises, achievements and opportunities. Setting up the marketable strategy report is an activity in composing, yet not in experimental writing. The archive has to be just and should briefly exhibit the investigations and choices that have been made in the midst of the planning process. When all is said and done, the more extended the planning archive is and the more verbiage it contains, the more the report will reflect choices that have not been made instead of those that have. The archive ought to be sorted out as indicated by the real methodologies of the marketable strategy, or, if nothing else, those techniques that are pertinent to the organization's operation. The record has to start with an official synopsis, which quickly highlights every significant segment. The record, likewise, should incorporate a brief evaluation of the organization's business sector position and business standpoint. The evaluation is imperative to accept the suspicions that will be reflected in the strategy for success techniques. Chapter 4. Benefits of a business plan. Individuals don't try to compose a business plan since they believe it's too hard or pointless unless you're searching for financing. That is a disgrace. These myths keep many people from the advantages of planning. In case you are still doubtful, here are 10 advantages to business plan you shouldn't be neglecting. First, you will stay focused. It's difficult to stick to the system through the day-by-day routine and interferences. Utilize a marketable strategy to compress the primary purposes of your system and as an indication of what it both incorporates and precludes. Second, business destinations will be clear. Make the most of your arrangement to characterize and oversee particular quantifiable destinations like web guests, deals, edges or new item dispatches. Characterize achievement in target terms. Third, your informed theories will be better. Utilize your arrangement to refine your informed speculations about things such as potential business sector, deals and expenses of offers, deals drivers, lead handling and business forms. Fourth, your needs will bode well. Besides the procedure, there are likewise needs for different elements of your systematic development, administration and money-related well-being. Utilize your arrangement to set an establishment for these, then to reconsider as the business develops. Fifth, you'll comprehend interdependencies. Make use of an arrangement to monitor what necessity to happen and in what request. For instance, in the event that you need to time an item discharge to coordinate a testing timetable or advertising to coordinate a discharge, Your business plan can be significant in keeping you composed and on track. Sixth, points of reference will keep you on track. Exploit a marketable strategy to monitor dates and due dates in one spot. This is important, notwithstanding for the one individual business and crucial for groups. Seventh, you'll be better at appointing. The marketable strategy is a perfect spot to clear up who is in charge of what. Each essential undertaking should have one individual in control. Your arrangement follows along. Eighth, overseeing colleagues and following results will be simple. Such a large number of individuals recognize the requirement for normal colleague surveys, and generally the same number of conceding they despise the audits. The arrangement is an extraordinary configuration for getting things in composing and catching up on the contrast in the middle of desires and results with course amendments. Ninth, you can better arrange and oversee income. No business can bear to let slip money. What's more, straightforward benefits are once in a while the same as money. An income arrangement is an extraordinary approach to twine toward surmises on deals, cost resources you have to purchase, and obligations you need to pay. 10th, course amendments will keep your business from floundering. Having a finely made business plan gives you an approach to be proactive, not receptive about business. Try not to sit tight for things to happen. Arrange them. Follow up by closely pursuing the outcomes and make course adjustments. It's a myth that business plan should anticipate what's to come. Rather, it sets desires and sets up presumptions as you can deal with the future with course redresses. You needn't bother with a major formal marketable strategy to profit. Rather, think about your strategy for success as a gathering of records, visual cues and tables. Consider it something that lives on the PC, not on paper. It's sufficiently huge to carry out its employment. Chapter 5. A quick 9-step guide to write a business plan. In case you're beginning a home construct business, in light of a shoestring, some of these proposals presumably aren't vital. However, despite everything, you have to make an arrangement that lay out your objectives, expected costs, advertising the program, and leave the system. A strategy for success is your guide for how you hope to succeed and how you'll quantify achievement. Here is a brisk 9-stage manual for what you will require in your organization's strategy for success. An official synopsis plotting objectives and targets. The official outline presents your business methodology and presumably is the most vital area for laying foundations. On the off chance that you can't influence an advance officer in the initial, a few pages that you have a reasonable business proposition, you're going to leave with practically nothing. This rundown is additionally critical as a specialized instrument for representatives and potential clients who need to comprehend and get behind your thoughts. Second, a brief record of how the organization started. Obviously, clarify the beginnings behind the organization's creation and how you or your business partner concocted the thought to commence your business. Third, your organization's objectives. Clarify in a couple of sections your short and long-haul objectives for the organization. How quickly do you think it will develop? Who will be your essential clients? Fourth, memories of the administration group. The administration area ought to incorporate the names and foundations of lead individuals from the administration group and their separate obligations. Fifth, the administration or item you plan to offer. A key part of this area will be a discourse of how your item or administration varies from everything else available. Sixth, the business sector potential for your administration or item. Keep in mind that you must persuade banks, representatives and others that the business sector you're after is moderately extensive and developing. You'll have to do some examination of this area. In the event that it's a privately based business, You have to evaluate the interest for your offering inside of XX mile sweep, taking into account what you decide is a sensible separation from your business. On the off chance that it's an online business or a business that depends on both the internet and nearby movement for incomes, you'll have to assess request on a neighborhood and/or a national premise. An exploration report from destinations, for example, Forrester research, can cost hundreds to a great many dollars, yet you might have the capacity to get some essential data basically by utilizing the web and its numerous web search tools and indexes. 7th, an advertising system. How would you plan to tell the world that you are open for business? Will you depend only on informal, not a decent arrangement unless you've, as of now, got a notoriety? Will you publicize in print, TV, or on the web, or every one of the three? Will you make use of online administrations to get your organization recorded on web search tools and promoted on different sites? You likewise need to incorporate the amount you plan to spend on promoting. 8th, a 3 to 5 year money-related projection. All great strategies for success incorporate an area that lays out the benchmarks you'll use in choosing to throw in the towel. The technique could be founded on a dollar figure, income development, the business sectors gathering to your thought, or an arrangement among top officers. 9th, a way out system. A few individuals might differ with me here. However, no speaker needs to be visiting a group that is caught up with perusing a summation of her comments, unless it is basic that individuals take after a free buy while you're exhibiting, hold up until you're done to disseminate them. This quick review can also work as a checklist for your business plan, and with this comes this book to an end.